Today, Flosstube, Anna aka Moranalis, back with another stitching update. It is October 17th, I think. It's Saturday. It's probably the 17th or thereabouts. Rushing in for probably a pretty disorganized, typical Flosstube on cross stitch. Welcome to anybody who's new. Welcome to everybody who's returning. Lovely that so many. I get comments from the same people over and over, and it's always nice to hear from you guys. Going on around here, a lot of construction. You may notice there's no mattress in the background. Isn't that awesome? No mattress. Look at that every week when I film and think that's the most dreadful background ever. We are currently in the process of plastering, painting, and tiling my she shed area. So it's not particularly obvious in my image on my phone, but I have a daughter wandering around the yard and I'm not sure if she's coming in here or not. I have now a light blue wall behind me, and just, can I turn? Oh, yep, so there's the, you can see the color of the feature walls, what they will look like, and that blue pole in there. As soon as I saw that go in, given that, you know, this is a she shed / art studio, I thought, you know, I need my very own blue poles in this shed. So it will get tidied up. You can see there's some gray from the welding, and it's going to get a base coat so that it doesn't rust and all that. But then we will paint it blue, bright primary blue, so that I have my very own blue poles in the she shed. As far as cross stitch goes, we we're just starting from the top, because I don't really know what order I worked in things, what I did. This was all kind of a hurry put together, so as per usual, there's no notes or anything. So one of the things I worked on was, more of the beading on Pearl of the Orient seeds. So that's an overview of what she's going to look like. This is a 32 count color cascade, dark fantasy. It's gorgeous fabric. And I'm not entirely sure which beads are new. I'm pretty sure I was at least part way through the jangles off her arm, and I think the ones on the shell are new. Maybe some of these star motifs up here, and then the seaweed. So generally just basically trying to continue to fill down. There's a few, that big one's gone on, is the start of what goes in her tail. So I've mentioned several times before that I'm doing this on a 32 count with the beads. That's not overly cool. That particularly big one there, it's not showing real well in the image, but it's the shape of a shell, one of those Mill Hill treasure type things. And on the chart it's allocated 4 stitches to fit into. Well, there is no way, I don't think even on 28 count that thing is fitting in anywhere near 4 squares. It's more like 12. So yeah, that's obviously I think there's a good 4 beads underneath that thing that I'm just not even going to bother to put in because they're not going to fit. So this was meant to get a fair bit more attention. You know, the whole theory was a little bit of work every day, put a string of beads in, and with everything else that's been going on, I just haven't had the enthusiasm to stomach beads. So one day, I will get back to this in the next couple of weeks. So just trying to get to a point where things aren't quite so chaotic. Ideally when I actually have my workbench and my she shed back. Although that may be a while away yet, because at the moment this is only half the wall, half the room. Everything's pushed up against the wall that's behind you. So obviously it will stay like that till we do the tiles and the aircon on this side of the room, and then we gotta reverse and all the stuff will go against that wall so that we can paint and plaster and tile the other side. So I may be without a decent work area to set up my stuff for quite some time. At the moment, the only place I can really stitch is in the middle of the living room with kids floating around, and I can just see beads going whoop. So yeah, it is what it is. We'll get there eventually. The other one I worked on, not as much this couple of weeks, but plugging away again when I'm out and about in town on Celtic Summer. This is Lavendar and Lace. Hold on, I have the Celtic Summer, that's her original colors, and I'm doing my tropical sunset conversion. So I don't even know what I've been working on. I'm sure I did more on the medallions up the side. I'm sure I did some amount of this gold border down her skirt. I was trying to fill in some of that because it's the same colors that's used in the little bits and pieces in the medallions up here, and then I'd have a little bit left over, so her front of her dress got a little bit more filled in as well in that process. So as per last time I showed it, it's a bit, the progress is a bit all over the place depending on what I pulled at the time. I worked on it once. One day stuck in the bloody hospital waiting room, and one day we were trying to drive south of town. We have a new people-later in the house, and we were going south of town to buy a car. So we got about 30k south of town and got a text message that the car had sold, and so the only thing I accomplished down and back was a bit of stitching on Celtic Summer. What I did get fairly well distracted on in the last couple of weeks was the Tinctorium Mandala. There's actually quite a bit of progress on this one. That way's right for you. My board that I usually try and use to make this easier is buried somewhere under a tarp, so we're making do today, guys. So, Tinctorium Mandala by Chatelaine. When I pulled this out, I had not finished all the bunnies. All the over ones are now done. All the ones on that side, in fact, that border from the top to the bottom is totally finished. The over ones are back stitched, all the specialty stitches are in, all the backgrounds in. I think across the top, all I have to do is back stitch to the over ones, and then that will be complete. The other two borders need a fair bit more attention yet. The other thing I've been working on is those corner motifs. So you can see they're all outlined with pink now. There are rice stitches in there. Let me see, one of these, oh, that one is completely finished. So the border is rice stitches. This is really hard to show you. Border is rice stitches. Then there's Algerian eyelets in a dinky dyes. I don't much like doing those. If you remember, I bought the wrong dinky dye thread. It's too thick, and we're making do because I'm not going to buy more. But it's generally a bit too thick for what it should have been, so it means the eyelets aren't quite as open and nice as they should be. Yeah, that gets a black outline, which is fairly straightforward, and this bit of pearl in there it calls for a rayon, IR something. Anyway, I was having trouble sourcing that particular thread, and I don't think it's used a great deal, so we're using the Dinky Dyes the green from the Japanese moss garden, which I'll have to put the name down the bottom. I think it's Dinky Dye Matilda in the pearl. So yeah, that's one sub. Oh, the other thing, if you look at the bottom two corners, so around those corners there is scroll work, and this one is done in the very light silver, which over here acts as kind of a nice highlight, but over here I'm like, it completely disappears on that light fabric. So that's a darker silver that's called for elsewhere in the pattern, and I'm thinking I might do those scroll work in that darker silver so it shows up more. Otherwise it's totally going to get lost. I had a look on the Chatelaine gallery, and the example one that's been stitched up there is done on a light fabric and has that scroll work done in a light color. Yeah, I'm not convinced I like it. Like, it blends into nothing. I can't see. So let me know, leave me a comment down below, light or dark. I'm leaning towards dark. So I'm gonna put this one away for a while. I think I might try and pull out one of the other Chatelaines. Maybe, I feel like I want to pull out Tahiti, even though Hawaii really needs some attention too. But I might pull out Tahiti because those backstitch turtles are so cool, or blackwork turtles. But yeah, so that was Tinctorium Mandala. It was nice to see a fair bit of progress on that one, but at this point now I think I'm done and I'm ready to move on to one of the other mandalas. Did I show you? I'm sure I did. In my last video I had finished another page on the map, so instead of continuing on that as my full coverage, I pulled out the Aura of Autumn again. I had grand plans of, I was going to finish basically the whole page plus the tiny little page that makes the end of this row, and given what you got there, maybe you could call that page half finished. It might be pushing it a little to call it half finished. So my theory, if I was going to finish the row and then go back to the map, maybe a bit erroneous, because I don't think I can wait that long. But I will at least finish the column I've started on. And then that's 3 columns on the page, and I think there's 5 altogether. So it's not that much farther to the other end. If I, sat down and didn't get distracted by other pieces, I could get it done before too long. But it is what it is. So that's where Aura of Autumn is up to. I didn't show you a picture of what it looks like. Maybe I will insert a picture below of what the whole piece will look like once it's finished. This is in a set of 3 panels. I'm doing each of the panels separately so that eventually I can frame them all and put them up on the walls in my she shed. That will be another interesting thing once we get all this painting and tiling done. I've got to figure out where I want to put cupboards and workbenches and stuff like that, but then I have to figure out where I'm going to hang things and make it pretty too. So that's a bit more fun. So, Aura of Autumn. And I think that's it for everything I've worked on this week. There's a few bits of stash that actually came in before the last video, and I didn't remember to show you guys, so I've got them this time. Journey of a Stitcher has taken a bit of a break from her shop, so right before she did, I decided I needed to place one last order, and I picked up this memorabilia that I see people stitching from time to time, Shakespeare's Fairies. funny, on first glance, looking at this pattern, I inevitably see Halloween pumpkins in their lanterns. So yeah, this is one of those that I keep looking at. It's never makes the priority list to buy, so when it was there and she was having a bit of a sale, I thought, no, fuck it, I'm going to buy that one, and then I'll have it one day when I'm ready. So that's Shakespeare's Fairies. The other one I bought was another Bellafilipina. I haven't looked at the materials list for this one, but I am understanding it is quite substantial. She is a big girl and takes a fair bit of bling and other specialty stuff to finish her up. So again, don't think I'm going to start this anytime soon, but it'll go in the stash for one day when I am looking for inspiration. I can pull her up. This one, on the other hand, is likely to get started sooner rather than later. This is Enchantress of the Abyss by Bellafilipina Designs. Now, anybody who's been around for a while knows my ongoing dramas with stockings. I finished one for my eldest who's about to graduate. My youngest, I had zero intention of doing a stocking for my other two, but my youngest was like, oh, but you could do one for me. So I will be a good mother and I will do him a stocking. And Maya in the middle was like, whatever, I don't want a stocking. But she saw this one come in the mail and she's like, Mom, do that instead of a stocking. Do that one. So this will be Maya's stocking. So we have gone on online, looked at the pattern viewer, and picked a bunch of fabrics that we thought might be good candidates to work with us. And for those of you who have been around a long time, you know, like originally we were supposed to be back in the US June, July, you know, and that all didn't happen with COVID. And my intention when we were back there was to order a bunch of different fabrics from different hand-dyed things, have them all sent to where we go in the US, so I pick them up and try out a lot of different dyers. Not going to happen in the foreseeable future, so we opted instead to basically do one big purchase. So we went under the sea fabrics and I've ordered a bunch, two that are, in fact, I will insert the image of the two we were comparing for this particular piece. The Uplifting Currents one that had the really neat background design, Leslie wasn't able to actually do at the moment, something about not being able to get the blue dye for COVID. So Maya picked a different one, I don't know. And she picked, she wants those on an opalescent, so I'm pretty sure I got 28 count opalescent. And this one I think just barely fits on a fat border. And then we went through the same process with the Gypsy Mermaid that I was thinking to start. And again, I'll put a picture of the two we were comparing for the Gypsy Mermaid. That green one, that one was really a surprise. Like I was just kind of flicking through Pattern Viewer, really didn't expect to be taken with that green one, but you know, just flicking through the options, and that was really cool. And I was disappointed that, again, like the Uplifting Currents, it wasn't actually available on Leslie's website. I couldn't pin down a specific as to why that one wasn't. Maybe it's COVID related, maybe it's something else, I don't know. Anyway, so I ended up ordering the purple one that's visible there and a different green one. I think it doesn't have as much of the blue. It's more green rather than that. The one in the picture is like green, blue, yellow. So we will do a floss toss when that gets here, you know, and I figure the purple one is a pretty safe bet. The other one, we'll see whether I like it once it gets here. And then I think I threw in another bit of fabric just to round it out to 5 pieces. So I've got a bit extra for the stash. So that will no doubt take ages to come. So I won't actually end up starting her anytime soon. I did go through the materials list. Don't want to do another one of these with the mill hill, so I've had a go at converting all of those to delica beads, and found a place to source the delica beads here in Australia. So those are on their way. They've been slow leaving again because of the whole COVID processing times being out of whack and all the rest of it. But I did get notification that they've shipped, so hopefully those will come, and then when I have the floss and stuff, I can see how well they match, how good I did at picking. And in fact, the treasures as well. I had intended for her, I assume there must be treasures in this, you can't see with the glare, treasures in this bit of stuff she's holding. The Mill Hill treasures, everywhere I looked, they were all sold out. So even though I had intended to stick with the Mill Hill treasures, I ended up swapping them out for other beads that looked similar from the same supplier where I got the delicas. For anybody else who's in Oz looking for delicas, I ended up ordering mine from Over the Rainbow. It's actually, I stumbled upon it more when I was doing polymer clay, but they do beading as well, so they have the delicas there. I don't know that it's like a super complete line of the delicas. It wasn't, I had to order some delicas for the Japanese moss garden, and they didn't come from them. I think you're going to have to be a bit more piecemeal if you want specific colors. Some of them will be supplied over here, and some of them will be supplied over here, and yeah, it'd be kind of a pain in the butt, because nobody seemed to have like just all the colors, and you just tell them what you want and be done with it. But so that project will get kitted up and probably started as soon as the fabric gets here, but given its given it's the US and slow post, that won't be anytime soon. But I will endeavor to have the bulk of the rest of the materials ready to go by the time the fabric gets here. So I think that's it for me. I hope everybody else is managing to keep well, making great progress on all their stitching. I will see you in a couple of weeks.